Today's sponsor, Sunrise Credit Union. Building a brighter future together.
Eat.
Meet.
Stay.
Canad Inns Destination Centers are your home for hospitality, with 10 locations in Manitoba and 1 in North Dakota, featuring the finest in accommodations, food and beverage, entertainment, banquet and conference facilities, and so much more. For the best service and best value, your only stop is Canad Inns. Call today at 1-888-33-CANAD or visit us right now at canadinns.com.
Curling in the small town part of Manitoba is really big in the winter. It's something for the community to do, and it really brings the community together. We can hold annual events like our bonspiels and our weekly nights. It's really something to do for everyone in the community. You can do it from any age.
You can win a pair of tickets for the 2023 Tim Hortons Briar in London or the 2023 BKT Tires and OK Tire Men's Worlds in Ottawa, plus $500. Or maybe equip your team with a set of 4 of Asham's new Ultra Force brushes. And at the same time, support the Manitoba Curling Hall of Fame and Museum and Curl Manitoba's Curling for Life Endowment Fund. Raffle tickets are available now, 1 for $5, 4 for $10, 10 for $20. Buy online at fundingchange.ca/Curl Manitoba or scan the QR code on your screen right now. Welcome to the East St. Paul Arena. Welcome to the 2023 Manitoba Scotties Tournament of Hearts presented by RME. Welcome to the first round of play in what is called the championship round of the Manitoba Scotties. 12 teams started on Wednesday morning. 6 of them have been eliminated. 6 of them play on. The 6 who stay in play bring forward their records. They play 3 more games. The teams at play still are Caitlin Laws and Jennifer Jones, 5-0 records to top their respective pools. Beth Peterson with a record of 4-1, second place in her pool. Lisa McLeod with a record of 3-2, second place in her pool. Abby Ackland at 3-2 was third place in her pool. Darcy Robertson on the basis of the tiebreak formula, 2 wins and 3 losses in third place in her pool. Our feature game on center ice here at the East St. Paul Arena is the second place teams playing each other. That is Peterson versus McLeod. And we've seen In front of our broadcast, the Beth Peterson team, Barry Gorlick and I have not yet had the privilege of watching the McLeod team play. Barry Gorlick, as we go into the championship round, your initial thoughts?
This is exciting. It starts with the bagpipe music. It's building now for the teams Friday night in Winnipeg. The counts in the mosquito traps are very, very negligible. It's dead cold outside, warm in here. There's a massive crowd filling up even the back rows of the standing room bleachers. And what we've got is a pair of young teams on the feature sheet who are striving for greatness. And if they take a moment to look to the left, they see Jennifer Jones, Olympic champion, gold medalist. If they look to the right, they see Caitlin Laws. And they're on the feature sheet, and they want to join them in the stat sheet too. So this is just a wow moment for curling in Manitoba.
It has been wonderful curling so far. It will get better as the elite among the Manitoba elite begin this championship round. As I mentioned, two teams with perfect 5-0 records. One of them can be perfect at the end. One of them cannot, because they will play here at center ice on the Saturday afternoon draw. Beth Peterson at 4-1 really wants to stay at just one loss. The teams below, the teams with 3-2 record, 2-3 record, they know they must win, and win at least two, probably all three of their games. The question I would ask you, Barry, and I don't need the intricate mathematical formula and complete detail, but tell me yes or no, at 2 wins and 3 losses, does Darcy Robertson and her team still have a chance to advance to the final 3, or are they simply filling a spot in this final 6?
They have a chance. The answer to the question is yes. The slightly longer answer is they have to run the table to get to 5-3, and another pair of teams have to come back to them by losing to the 2 top teams in these crossover games. So the short answer is yes, they can do it. They have to win out.
So there you have it. We have 6 teams on the ice. Any one of them yet can be the Manitoba champion, and that's all you want as you start a new round of play. You want to know that you have a chance. We've seen it historically in events like the Grey Cup and so on, where we have seen teams that have had, let's just say, average or somewhat mediocre seasons. They get to the playoffs and they run the table, and that will be the objective of Team McLeod here in front of us, Team Ackland, Team Robertson. If they can run the table and bring those other teams back to them, they can think about being the Manitoba representative at the Canadian Nationals.
And just before our viewing audience makes firm plans for their Saturday evening, please know that if there are teams clustered with 3 losses and 5 wins, there's a tiebreaker slated for tomorrow evening that we'll be carrying, but that tiebreaker only comes into play if the teams with 3 losses run the table, in the case of Beth Robertson, and 2 other teams join her with 3 losses as well.
So through all of that setting of the stage, the teams in front of us, Lisa McLeod with Melissa Gordon, Catherine Dirksen, Jenna Loader in front of her. Lisa McLeod has Jolene Callum, Hallie McCannell, and Janelle Locke in front of her. Beth Peterson has Melissa Gordon, Catherine Dirksen, and Jenna Loader in front of her. Lyle Hudson, a twice Manitoba junior champion a few years ago, is the coach of the McLeod team. Murray Peterson, less visible but still very involved as coach of his daughter Beth. So we've provided the background, we've laid out the situation going forward, and now we get to talk about what we expect to be a wonderful curling game between 2 talented teams. The Yellowstones are being thrown by the Peterson team. Peterson does have last rock. Peterson does not have last rock, is what he actually meant to say.
Which is why Beth Peterson put up a center guard that can't be touched until the 6th rock in order to provide cover to try to draw behind.
I had made the curling fans' error of an assumption. I saw Beth Peterson throw her draw to the button for hammer, and she had thrown a significant chunk of the button with that draw, and I have to admit I jumped to the conclusion that it probably had been good enough, but it wasn't. So we'll see Lisa McLeod ask her third, Janelle Locke, to come through, follow the Peterson stone through the port, try to get to the nose of the yellow stone in the 4-foot and punch it through. She does face 2 at this moment. She gets room with a lot of room to spare. She does hit and roll away. Will she roll right out of the rings? No, she does not. She sits full 12-foot, but Peterson, throwing yellow, does have shot rock. It sits, as you can see, partially in that port, but any contact on it is likely to push it back onto the red in the back 12-foot.
And what Beth is trying to do now is to become not only second shot, but in a position where Lisa McLeod won't actually be able to make a play on the yellow stone of Peterson that is currently in the rings. Making full use of 2 things, the center guard that she put in place initially, and secondly, as you can see, based on where the brush is placed, upwards of 5 feet of curl already this early in the game.
Good line. Line's good. Little bit early. Line's good. Line's good. Wait only. Curling now. Gotta go for line. Hard, Melissa. Hard, Melissa, full 12.
Looking for the hard sweep, trying to get it to come in. They need to be full into the 12-foot, bite the 8-foot. Not quite deep enough. The red stone at the back of the 12-foot still lies second shot.
Resby's right, and the draw to the button heading in the other direction. On the other side of the sheet, Beth nearly pinned it. So this is maybe evidence of the other side of the sheet being a little bit different, a little bit slower, maybe a little bit of nerves, not wanting to go behind the tee line for sure, but came up significantly shorter than Beth would have wanted.
So Locke holding the broom for Lisa McLeod. Virtually the same ace, maybe a little bit more. But McLeod knowing that just the extra 4 feet of weight to get to the button will carry it past that rock in the top 12 foot.
Joe's rock, maybe. Just stay close. Stay close. Yep. There it goes. There it goes. Yep.
Lisa McLeod throws a rock with a nice amount of rotation. It is the first time we're seeing her, but it's 3 full rotations between the hog lines. And even with that, it actually tipped the yellow rock that Beth Peterson put there initially. So this is arena ice at its finest. Lots of swing from the outside in.
Still have a hit for 2, right? Yeah, if she can see it. I think I'm fine with her playing that. We could play the back one and roll in. And sit 2 there? Yeah. Even nose, Jenna. I don't mind that. She'll play the tap probably. Yeah. It's just the worst. They still have a hit for 2 if I make that shot. Like I can just nose this and we sit 1, 2, 3.
Seems to me this isn't even a shot that needs consultation with the front end. In my opinion, the shot on the red at the top of the rings was definitely going to leave McLeod with an opportunity to play a shot for 2. This shot has the potential to force McLeod to throw for a single point. So this is the easy call in my mind.
Yep, and the only question is, do they know how it's running here? In our early game, this is exactly the line that Chelsea Carey threw hard on, and the rock never did budge. Beth did refer, though, to the fact that her weight choice is 9.5 seconds between the hog lines, which is just medium, and expecting it to come up a little bit.
She wants to get to the nose of it if she can. She does hit and roll away. So it does leave McLeod still the opportunity to play through the port for a 2.
That was the straightest spot.
But in my mind, still the right call to play that in the hopes of rolling to the center.
And of course, she was busy herself curling, but Beth didn't have the benefit of watching that throw that I alluded to, because she just said to her team, it did nothing. Code for it ran much straighter than she would have expected. So you'll see them tighten up the ice the next time they have a rock in that position.
I think it's easier.
So Lisa McLeod has first opportunity. She's going to throw an out turn. Lots of room between the two rocks, the one touching the center line, the one halfway to the wall. Out turn should curl in nice to, all she has to do is make nose contact on it now.
And with Beth Peterson having removed the red rock that was at the back of the rings, there's no worry about jamming. So she has a little larger tolerance room than she would have otherwise.
So here it comes.
We're standing nicely right behind the sheet. It's a very nice throw for the first end, Resby.
And we do see 2 points for Lisa McLeod go on the board, open the scoring with a deuce. 2-0 McLeod over Peterson in our feature game of this championship round play at the 2023 Manitoba Scotties Tournament of Hearts. We'll be back in just a moment. Today's sponsor, Sunrise Credit Union. Building a brighter future together.
Eat.
Meet.
Stay.
Canad Inns Destination Centers are your home for hospitality, with 10 locations in Manitoba and 1 in North Dakota, featuring the finest in accommodations, food and beverage, entertainment, banquet and conference facilities, and so much more. For the best service and best value, your only stop is Canad Inns. Call today at 1-888-33-CANAD or visit us right now at canadinns.com.
Where can you find handmade pizza, classic burgers, scrumptious salads, the finest Manitoba-sourced fried chicken, and so much more? Chicken Chef, bring your appetite. We'll take care of the rest.
We're back in the East St. Paul Arena, just north of the Perimeter Highway, north of Winnipeg, where we have assembled the finest women curlers in Manitoba. And to a fair extent, we can look at some names out here and say some of the finest curlers in the world. And the McLeod team scores a deuce. They throw their first rock, as we would expect them to, right in the forefoot. Beth Peterson will throw a corner guard.
Gotta go. You're really curling. Really curling. Hard cat. Hard cat.
We hope you've enjoyed these Curl Manitoba live stream broadcasts from East St. Paul. We've said a couple of times that we've got viewership across the country, and I've even been so audacious as to suggest from around the world. And in fact, we can tell you that we do know we've from the feed stats. Obviously, of course, most of the audience is a Manitoba and a Prairie audience, but for sure a Canadian audience. But we also have had significant viewership in the United States, in Mexico, in Japan, in Switzerland. We know we've had some viewership in Russia. We very much appreciate all of you tuning in to watch. If you're in the neighborhood of Western Canada. We'd like you to do some business at Rocky Mountain Equipment, but my guess is that our international audience won't be doing that.
Happily for Rocky Mountain Equipment, and no surprise at all, so far about 90% of the total number of, significant number of viewers is based across Canada. So they put their dollars where they should be in supporting this important event.
And we do very much appreciate, and we'll say on behalf of Curl Manitoba and Manitoba curling fans, that the sponsorship of Rocky Mountain Equipment and all of the Curl Manitoba sponsors is very much appreciated.
Once again, at the beginning of this second end, that center guard is less effective than it would be if it were a little bit tighter to the rings. Why? Because there's so much movement in the ice. The call is to go right after that stone at the top of the forefoot. And even though she's cleared the guard by nearly a rock width, from the hog line in, it's moved right onto the target rock.
So settling in the hack now is our second, Catherine Dirksen. You can see from the ice call, they're approaching it with a little different strategy. They're going to play a little more weight and hope to roll away.
Yep, hard, hard, hard. 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 Keep on it. Whoa.
Catherine Dirksen over curls and will remove the guard and roll away.
Whereas in curling clubs, if you throw a rock as hard as Catherine just did, you would ordinarily expect it to run fairly straight, sometimes poker straight. Once again, even with that up weight, this ice is going to take the curl, and that probably caught Beth Peterson a little bit by surprise.
So Lisa McLeod, she looked at ripping off that guard, decided just to leave it, replace the guard on the center line. It is second, Hallie McCannell.
Pretty good on its own. I think it's good. A little bit, yep. Good, 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 good. Okay. Yeah.
10-5.
And now Beth will make her pass at trying to remove that very tight guard and roll in behind the two at the corner.
Yep.
10-5.
Yep. Gotta go. Really gotta go. Hard, hard.
This one's going to curl up to the nose of that center line guard. He's going to drive it straight back. It does jam a little bit open. But the amount of curl on the hits at this moment appears to be catching the Peterson team a little bit by surprise.
And even though Beth Peterson asked whether the weight was down by wondering whether it was 11 seconds hog to hog, and in fact it was 10 and a half, which is by the standards of this team considered nice control weight. So they're going to have to make an adjustment.
Yep, yes, line if you can. Okay, curl.
Right out of Janelle's hand, they called for brushing.
Just show. I don't want to tap it, but I want it to overthrow here. Yeah, you can go. Yep.
The call was to go around. Obviously a little light, a lot of curl.
Yeah. Try and roll to a corner. Or less. Sure.
The Peterson team has been together, this particular composition of it, since 2018. So you'll hear throughout the game a lot of back and forth, certainly between Beth Peterson and her third Jenna Loader. but this is their 6th competitive season together. So they know each other's games inside out, and they know how they like to play the game.
She did play the hit and roll, trying to roll her shooter into the rings. That didn't happen, but she pushed the other guard back deep in the rings, almost wide open. From that camera angle, you would suggest it is wide open. And Janelle Locke will throw her first stone, the third thrower for McLeod.
Janelle, by the way, hails from Plumas, Manitoba presently, where she and her spouse have a farm operation.
Of absolute interest to almost everybody, absolute no interest to absolutely everyone. I would say hello to anyone who might be watching us from Plumas, the birthplace of my father.
People have paused just to contemplate that.
Line's really good. That's perfect. Line's green. Really curling. Really curling.
So here as we approach the hog line, this rock should bust, but it's got plenty of weight.
Snaps behind.
And actually moved in well enough such that Lisa McLeod has no choice other than to simply come down to it to try to outcount it. To again lie 2. Kind of a dream beginning for the McLeod team in a bonspiel of this magnitude. This is a team that was organized in its current way with Lisa skipping within the past 2 months. So they're running on fumes a little bit, but they're floating so far.
So McLeod throws her first stone of this second end. Deuce on the opening end. She lies 1 in the top of the 8-foot. Try to go to the corner, frozen or angled forward on the yellow stone that was thrown behind the corner guard. She does over curl and will come up with a second red biter, but the Yellowstone does sit nicely protected over on that side, and Beth Peterson has the opportunity now to hit, stick to lie 2.
That was Lisa McLeod's intern as a right-hander, which ordinarily for most curlers will move a little more than their out-turn. But looking at where the brush was placed to where the rock ended up, even though it was a pound light, 8+ feet of movement, Resby. So this is a challenging sheet of ice tonight.
Peterson's intern hit. She wants to hit on the nose. A little bit of a roll to the center line actually would steepen the angle for a roll off to the other one, the other Yellowstone. She does get that pure nose hit. The yellow lies 2, with each team having 1 rock yet to come.
I think I'll throw normal up. Okay. Right on the center line. Just a hair off center.
It seems unlikely that the double kill is in play here.
Just roll over there if it's hanging out.
It's a possibility, but there's a real chance of jamming yellow onto red behind the tee line if they get the roll. I think more likely they're interested in rolling to be shot stone biting the 8-foot circle.
If this is the 8th or 9th or 10th end, they have much more confidence in trying to throw this rock hard and chancing the double. This early in the game, they'll be happy to get a roll just to even change the look of Beth Peterson's last shot.
So the McLeod stone cruises down the ice, crosses the tee line. She gets a little roll in the direction she wanted, but from all appearances, the yellow Peterson stone is lying one already.
Beth Peterson will have the opportunity to make a draw for two and at the earliest stage of the game, lock in her draw weight.
Except that she has decided that she will hit, which is neither right nor wrong in a situation like this. She just threw a very nice hit for a nose hit. A nose hit here gives her the counter over the two red biters at the side. And so with
personal preference.
With the confidence that has come from that previous hit, she'll throw an out-turn hit.
We've seen since she reached the top levels of the competitive stage that Beth has supreme confidence in her hitting ability.
And we'll see. Her out-turn hit is on its way down the ice. Starts to curl to center. It is going to get to center, but almost a pure nose hit. And it is a deuce to tie the game at 2-all after two completed ends. We'll be back with end number 3 from East St. Paul in just a moment.
Today's sponsor, PharmaSave. Canada's community pharmacy is proud to support Canada's community game.
Asham Curling Supply.
Superior fit, comfort, and performance. Asham curling shoes are the best we've ever used.
Hi folks, I'm Arnold Asham, and our product is always satisfaction guaranteed or your money back.
Asham Curling Supplies.
That's your best delivery of the day.
You can win a pair of tickets for the 2023 Tim Hortons Brier in London or the 2023 BKT Tires and OK Tire Men's Worlds in Ottawa, plus $500. Or maybe equip your team with a set of 4 of Asham's new Ultra Force brushes. And at the same time, support the Manitoba Curling Hall of Fame and Museum and Curl Manitoba's Curling for Life Endowment Fund. Raffle tickets are available now. 1 for $5, 4 for $10, 10 for $20. Buy online at fundingchange.ca/Curl Manitoba or scan the QR code on your screen right now.
At the East St. Paul, Manitoba Arena, score tied 2-2. Lisa McLeod with a deuce on the opening end. Beth Peterson with a deuce of her own. A nice nose hit on the center line to stick for a pair. So it is 2-2 in our feature game between Lisa McLeod and her Portage-based team. Beth Peterson and her team from the Assiniboine Memorial at the west side of Winnipeg. First rock, the first Peterson stone, tight to the rings. Foot and a half in front of the rings, touching the center line, cannot be removed. The reminder, again, that the no-tick rule is in effect so long as that rock is touching the center line. The rule that will be played at the National and at the World Championship, and therefore will be played here at the Manitoba level, ensuring that the team who win will go forward to represent Manitoba, having won under the conditions that the national event will be played under.
Beth Peterson calling for a hit. A good safe play
really
at this stage.
Really gotta go. Hide, all the way. Hide, Cat.
Rock may have been turned a little bit. Certainly the sweep call was immediate. Does come right across the face. Bang that rock out, but rolls out.
Beth, by the way, is a radiation therapist at Cancer Care and is playing with her cousin Melissa Gordon and is a 2015 junior champion along with Melissa and another cousin, her 5th player, Robin Negevin.
I'm going to update you on the other 2 sheets on this 3 sheets of ice layout here at the East St. Paul Arena, where we have Caitlin Laws playing Abby Ackland. That team skipped by, and with Megan Walter throwing the last stones, Laws opened the game with a deuce. The Ackland team, the Walter skipped team, did score a 3 on the second end, so that game is at 3-2 for Ackland playing in the third end. Across the way, also a 3-ender scored, this one by Jennifer Jones in the opening end. Darcy Robertson with a single, so Jones leads Robertson 3-1. And back here on our sheet with the red McLeod stone just half tucked under the center guard in the top 12-foot. Catherine Dirksen is asked to play a draw to the 8-foot, 4-foot area, but comes up short, leaves her rock on the center line.
Lisa doesn't have to think twice in asking her team to draw one right to the tee line, hopefully above the tee line, behind 3 cover guards now. Lisa's a pricing manager and a graduate of Oak Park High School here in Winnipeg and the Asper School of Business at the University of Manitoba. With a long career in women's and junior curling. So here again, that rock cleared the top guard, which is only 11 feet away from its stopping position by a good 6 inches, and has moved the equivalent of 30 inches, close to 36 inches, in the remaining 11 feet of travel. So this is curling ice at its finest.
So Beth Peterson looking at a mess of guards up the center line. Removing her own rock off the center line. She hits the outside of it. She will hit bang, bang, and bang. But jams the red rock in the back of the 4-foot. One guard remains up the center to be used by the McLeod team.
What the McLeod team is trying to do now in order to preserve the possibility of scoring multiple points is to separate each rock of theirs that comes down the sheet by as much distance as possible. The worry with this one is it's running much deeper than they would have hoped.
And it does slide to the tee line. It's going to slide back and in fact end up back 12-foot, almost fully behind their own red stone in the 4-foot. And that leaves Peterson the opportunity to use her own guard by drawing the freeze to the red McLeod stone in the back of the 4.
A perfect freeze will have the effect of virtually eliminating any possibility of a multiple score.
So you heard the brief comment from Jenna Loader to Beth Peterson. We'll plan to play the run, anticipating that rock would have been, a draw would have been made, but clearly changed gears to a draw. A little overweight. It's going to draw to and touch the red stone in the 4-foot, but will not get to the face of it and rolls away open, wide, and pushes the red stone fully behind that center guard.
Although it's only the third end, that intern side coming toward our commentating booth has had now 9 rocks down that path, and the teams are going to have to adjust. It's running beautifully, although the hog-to-hog score on that last one was 13.9 seconds, which means it was a little hot from the beginning.
So this is third Janelle Locke.
Joe, then Joe. Yep. Both go. Both go to get here. No, off. I did tighten you up because everyone's like been out here. Does the nose get the double or is it jam?
Rip this, you're rolling out.
Yeah, I see that. Can we freeze again?
Nose. here, Jenna, they can smash. They're both gone anyways.
What about to the back one? To the back one?
Right there. You don't like nose?
I don't mind those.
Whatever you see.
Whatever you like.
This is fun too, since we're not.
Okay.
Jenna and Beth make it easy for us as commentators because you're listening to the exact set of choices along with the analysis that they are implementing in trying to decide which shot will be most effective here. There aren't any excellent choices.
Which is the same as saying there's no right or wrong. I suspect some viewers might say a bit of indecisiveness that's costing some time. But we'll see. It is the in-turn draw at the hog line. It takes the big curl that we've seen coming in. It will be behind the center guard. It will get back to the red stone at the back of the rings, but will be, well, probably is still shot stone, but in the back of the rings, back of the forefoot. Janelle Locke,
Line's good.
third, the vice for McLeod.
Stay close. Whoa, whoa, has to move. No. Curl. No. Curl. Go ahead, Joe. Just Joe. Yep.
She will bring it back to the Yellowstone.
Both teams experiencing a little bit of the heavies, not by much, but the call there was to have that rock stop at the top of the button, and it slid a foot and a half too far.
14-3 on Dennis. 14-3. At the right speed, this will come over nice.
She'll play the same in-turn they've been playing. Seems to me she wants to almost over curl the center line and freeze to the red, just delivered by Janelle Locke. If it doesn't get to the red stone, then that channel we saw sits available to play the out turn to punch a Yellowstone right through between all of those rocks. So. Comes to rest. Second shot. Some hesitation on the sweep. The sweep call was there. Beth third general loader knew that there was a need for some sweep, but the hesitation probably due to that little bit of extra weight.
We're sitting one right now,
but
so
it
I'd
did
rather
snap.
not touch ours.
They were caught, and that outcome is helpful to McLeod in two ways. She can come down to it and lie two, and secondly, if she does come down to it to lie two, it's going to be incapable of being removed.
So Lisa McLeod will follow. That same wide in turn.
Go ahead. Line's good. On the tee line. Line's great. Line's really nice. Line's good. Let it move. Whoa, gotta work. No line yet. Okay. Hallie's rock. Hallie's rock. Right here. Yep. 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 Straight now. Straight. Yep. Right to it. Right to it. Whoa.
And she does put her stone right in on top.
Sorry, Joe.
But has left a pocket for Beth Peterson to nestle right to those two reds, and if she can make it perfectly, she will be shot rock.
So what you're seeing, ladies and gentlemen, is 250 pounds of granite
Okay, right to the
clustered
nose of
together
that one.
right around the button.
Yeah.
We've spoken in other telecasts about the
42?
idea of some
She's
shots
between
being
809
more
and
important than
58 on the
others.
one that's there.
This is one of those shots for Beth Peterson. They know the path, they know the weight. It should react the way they predict it to, but this one has to be made.
It is Beth Peterson, her final stone here in the third end. The game is tied at 2-all. McLeod lies 2, both on the back side of the button. Peterson must draw those 2 red stones. Strong sweep, hard sweep all the way in. It does curl to the face of that stone. It is virtually covering the pinhole to lie shot stone.
Excellent brushing effort. As Beth admitted on the way down, she released it a little soft. It was moving right out of her hand, and Melissa Gordon was able to hold it straight.
So for the McLeod team, there is nothing to do but spring off the yellow stone at the wall, come straight across. She can come straight across. She can kill the yellow for a 3. You heard her say it. She's borderline throwing it away. In other words, if we miss, we miss, but at least we're not going to do anything stupid. So we'll see. It's underway. It's got to hit just a little bit of that yellow stone. It does. It jumps, makes contact, but does not have the desired effect, and it is a steal of 1 for Beth Peterson. Yellow goes ahead 3-2 over Lisa McLeod after 3 completed ends. We'll be back with end number 4 from the Scotties Tournament of Hearts Championship round in just a moment.
We hope you're enjoying this Manitoba Championship curling, brought to you by Seagram's 83, Manitoba's favorite Canadian whiskey.
At McMunn & Yates, we've always believed that good neighbors make for better communities. McMunn & Yates has everything you need for your next project, right at your fingertips. And McMunnandYates.com will always be there, ready to help.
When life gets busy, getting everything done can be tough. With PharmaSafe's mobile prescription service, order your prescriptions right from your phone so they're ready when you are. Download the PharmaSafe app today.
Live well with PharmaSafe.
We're back. We're back in the East St. Paul Arena, and we are enjoying championship curling, as are all these folks. A full house. I can't tell you exactly the number. I haven't counted the number of feet and divided by 2, but I'm going to say 400 to 500. Barry Gorlick, do you have any idea of what numbers for this arena configuration are?
There's 360 seats within the boards, and there's another couple of hundred along the outside wall, and there's seating right behind the sheets that you can see that accommodate 100. So we've got a crowd of at least 500 here tonight.
And they are enjoying some outstanding championship curling. Over here on sheet C, Jennifer Jones has scored a single point on the third end. Jones leads Robertson 4-1. Here on sheet A, a steal of 1 by Abby Ackland and her team. on the third end, following the 3 on the second, and the Ackland team leads their opponent, Caitlin Laws by name, by a score of 4-2, also playing the fourth. And here in our feature game, Beth Peterson has just stolen a single point to go up 3-2 over Lisa McLeod.
Having given up the steal in 3, no reason for the McLeod team to be disheartened. They had every opportunity to score, and it took a superb shot by Beth Peterson to get the steal. The other bit of good news is they now have Hammer in end number 4. And as we discussed before, having Hammer in the even numbered ends is something that any skip desires, because if the game plays out as expected, that could leave Lisa McLeod with the rock in her hand at the very end of the game in the 10th end with an opportunity to win.
So we just saw Jolene Callum throw a very nice in-turn tap, draw tap really. It just pushed the rock back about 6 feet into the back of the rings. She gets that little roll over to the inside, fully buried, and I have to admit I'm a little confused. By my count, that was the 5th stone of the end, but I guess that rock wasn't touching the center line. I had thought that it was touching the center line, so couldn't be removed, but on the replay, I noted that it was not touching center line, hence no need for my confusion. The delivered stone did stay as a center guard, touching the center line. The Hallie McCannell draw overcurls a wee bit, taps that yellow stone into the top of the 12-foot circle, and Beth Peterson now looking at trying to get behind the red guard, the McLeod team throwing the red.
I just feel like you're on the boards drawing the other way. Yeah. I think that ice is, no.
A veteran commentator and multi-time curling champion Russ Howard uses the expression wrong side of the inch. To this point in this end, and to this point in the game, even including on her last shot of the last end, Lisa McLeod's team is just a little bit on the wrong side of the inch. The weight on that last draw shot was perfect. It overcurled ever so slightly, and it shifts the opportunity now to Beth Peterson to beat them to the 4-foot ring.
McLeod does have Hammer. Went a little perhaps too wide to get the draw that she wanted. She's trying for a little tick, gets just ever so slight a rub, and does roll almost directly behind that red guard that sits just outside the ring, straight up from the 4-foot line. Lisa McLeod is willing to take at least one try at drawing to that rock. Freeze to the yellow, just a little tap on it gives red, the McLeod team, a nicely positioned shot stone. That one, too, did not curl quite as much as anticipated. Rubs the yellow.
10-5. 10-5, but
That rock was all over the two staggered guards. 6 feet past the hog line and almost cleared the inside yellow guard. So there's plenty of movement, but putting the broom in the right place seems to be challenging at the moment.
So the hit clears the red at the top, the red at the back, and Beth Peterson and her team from Assiniboine Memorial do now lie 3, 2 red guards, providing a little bit of cover. No reds in play in the rings. And I think Lisa McLeod sees the possibility of a triple kill here for Janelle Locke. Certainly a double. Wants to remove the 2 at the top of the rings. The inside rolls across, bang on the second one, and does push it out of play. As you saw, the red rock did roll up, and I believe it is outside the rings at the top. Peterson throwing the yellow stones, does lie shot stone, the only rock in the rings. Almost perfectly buried behind a red guard on the edge of the 4-foot line. She asked Jenna Loader with her final stone here in the 4th end to throw that out-turn line, try to get buried again behind the red, but she is going to rub and roll to the center line.
As the weight coming off these rocks, the amount of movement in the direction of the curl is absolutely unbelievable. It's going 3 feet forward and 1 foot to the left.
Janelle Locke, her final stone here of the 4th end, looking for a straight run back. Not quite. Worst luck. Would have been almost better to miss it completely, but did rub it a little, pushed it back under the rock that she had just delivered, staying there as a guard.
I think that's max, Jenna.
What speed are you throwing? Back 8?
Yeah, yeah.
So the yellow stones lie 2. That is the Beth Peterson team. Biter at the top of the rings. Their objective now is to come pretty much to the nose of it and push it straight back. A little bit of an angle in behind either corner also works, but leaves a bigger gap at the center.
Soft. Yeah, like the more weight you have, it hang a bit. I think that's close. Right on the nose. Yeah.
Beth Peterson's draw underway. Curl to get to the nose of it, to tap that straight back. Doesn't quite go straight back, but does go back behind the red, and is a pretty good result, Barry.
Really good result. Possibly even a better result than bouncing it straight back, because that now blocks any path to the stone that's just behind the tee line.
Maybe that's a better shot. Yeah.
And although on the visual, that's a better visual, I was going to say it looks as if you could get close enough to the face of the shot that was just thrown in order to knock it back. The fact is, Lisa McLeod knows that her only shot here is to run her own red stone back onto the top yellow, hoping to double off both yellows. Same path that Janelle Locke just threw on, so they know the line.
Also, the way it's going, if I make it perfect, we're rolling behind the covers.
that extra bit of analysis from Lisa McLeod. If she gets it perfect, she believes the raised stone will also spring off the yellow and roll behind. So she's looking for double kill and roll behind with a perfect stone. We'll see in just a moment as it crosses the hog line. Yellow onto red, onto yellow, and yellow. Both are gone. The red rock does sit wide open in a gap between two guards, allowing Beth Peterson the opportunity to hit and roll actually either way to be buried, but she does want to hit and roll back to center, back behind her own stone.
And again, for Peterson, it's already mission accomplished. No possibility of a multiple score for Lisa McLeod. And holding her to 1 with hammer to get to the point where the game is simply tied at 3-3 is an excellent result in the 4th end.
With McLeod having last shot, all of that assumes a Beth Peterson successful shot on this delivery, and she does make the contact she wants. She does hit and rolls wide. And it turns out that a yellow stone about 2 inches off the wall turns out to be a catcher and a yellow biter right back there in the back.
I thought the commentator's curse was at play. It was and it wasn't, in the sense that as that rock was rolling across the house, I hadn't bothered to anticipate the idea of a blank. And then the catcher came into play, a rock that we had ignored from the moment it was first moved there.
Well, these sheets of ice are so much wider than in the average club, certainly in Prairie Canada.
There's a full 2 feet of unpainted ice, that is to say, beyond each edge of the rings. And Resby's right, there are clubs we play in where, at least on the end sheets, a single rock barely fits against the sideboard.
So we did see the blank end. That rock caught for a tiny little bite in the back corner, and Lisa McLeod does use her last turn, her last stone, to remove it, roll away, and we go to the 5th end with Peterson leading McLeod 3-2. We'll be back with that 5th end in a moment.
Thank you for joining us for this Manitoba Championship draw, brought to you by Seagram's VO. Masterfully blended, distinctly Canadian.
At Viterra, we believe in the power of connection. Our world-leading agriculture network connects producers and consumers to supply top-quality food ingredients each and every day. Our team takes great pride in working closely with farmers to help feed the world. It's something we've been doing for over 100 years. And as an industry leader, we're dedicated to playing a critical role in meeting the needs of a growing world. Because together, we're stronger and achieve more.
Asham Curling Supply.
Superior fit, comfort, and performance. Asham curling shoes are the best we've ever used.
Hi folks, I'm Arnold Asham, and our product is always satisfaction guaranteed or your money back.
Asham Curling Supplies.
That's your best delivery of the day.
(3-2) Beth Peterson over Lisa McLeod. McLeod having just blanked the 4th end. We go here to the 5th end of our championship game. 1 of 3 on the ice here at the East St. Paul Arena. Darcy Robertson has just scored a deuce on the 4th end. She trails Jennifer Jones now 4-3. Caitlin Laws has scored a deuce on the 4th end. That game tied now at 4-4. Playing all 3 games in the 5th end.
Okay. We're lost.
Peterson with the very tight center guard. The opening stone.
Here's the no-tick rule coming into play. Inadvertently, I might add.
That rock is banged off to the corners. Peterson does have the choice. She'll put it back.
Feel free to adjust.
And good sportsmanship there from Lisa McLeod. She put it back and then says to Beth, just feel free to adjust. Beth really giving it a tap just to acknowledge that that was her prerogative, but neither really particularly worried about the exact placement. But it probably the most dramatic example, although we've talked about this rule a bunch, that's the most dramatic example of a quote-unquote foul. Early in the end, at least. We've had a couple of instances, but that's the first time the first Stones have done it.
Especially on a guard that tight to the rings. Indicative, again, of the amount of movement in the ice. And a guard of that nature is a very effective guard, even though it can be run back because of the amount that the rocks are curling, even from the top of the 12-foot down to the tee line, as we just saw. The rock behind the tee line, which is 2 feet heavy, would have fully buried had the weight been right, which is not something you see on regular club ice. This is the first time we've overheard a discussion of this nature, but Lisa McLeod and Janelle Locke are wondering whether the rock just thrown, their number 2 red rock, is maybe a little straighter than the others and maybe a little slower than the others, because they were surprised that it came up short.
So Peterson, following tight pass there, actually draws top of the 4-foot circle, curls right between those two.
And actually comes out a little bit the other side.
I'd like to bump this back.
This amount of movement in the ice just makes the game so interesting, so much fun. There's no rock buried behind any single guard that is even close to safe.
And that certainly is Lisa McLeod's opinion, as she asks for a draw past that center line guard.
I suppose it begs the question, Resby, when is a guard not a guard? Question asked, I'll answer it. When the ice is bending 7 to 7.5 feet.
But in this instance, a little bit light and does curl right across, over curls in fact, without hardly touching that yellow center stone.
What we saw with that shot is how absolutely unforgiving the ice is too. It's highly weight sensitive. If you're 6 feet or 7 feet short, as that one was, it changes the path of the throw-in stone completely.
So now Catherine Dirksen is asked to throw a long guard. The Peterson team sensing a possibility, an opportunity, 2 rocks in the 4-foot circle. They'll clutter things up the center line. They'll try to get across this red.
Good call, guys.
And effectively trying to build a wall out in front of the rocks in the 4-foot.
Do we ever try it again? Do we ever try it again?
I want to bail.
There's a level of decisiveness that I like to see in a skip. The front end and the other 3 have asked the question. Lisa stood up to give it the moment of thought, but then said, no, it is time for us to bail. And I'd like to see that decisive. I would have been completely okay if she had decisively said, yes, let's do the other. But there was not the hesitation that we've seen from some other teams in those situations.
Having made the conscious decision to blank the last end, the last 6 or 7 or 8 minutes have been a bit of a nightmare for Lisa. They haven't gone well. It's not clear how she's going to be able to score, let alone score a deuce, having walked away from a single point last end. And she's chosen this moment to do what she can to restore the end, to at least give her a chance with her last rock to be able to score a single point. The worst thing that could happen, having blanked the last end, is to give up a steal here.
So Peterson throws another guard, while the McLeod bail attempt didn't clear the rocks quite the way she wanted to. It has left yellow angled into the forefoot, and another peel will move some more granite around, probably remove at least one of the yellows from the forefoot circle.
These rocks are lined up almost perfectly to remove both the yellow rock at the top of the 4 so long as they were hit on the nose. There's that path again. There's that in-turn path with up weight that ran poker straight.
So this end has gone very much to the liking of the Beth Peterson team, who may have, how would I phrase it, accidentally got their rock into the top of the forefoot circle early in the end, but that became the second counter, and from there on they've thrown guards, and so far that strategy is working for them. 2 yellows remain. And at the hog line, that right turn begins, and it does come to rest just biting the RME logo, very nicely covering the line to the red stone that might be promotable. So this is lined up, yellow onto red, onto the rocks in the forefoot, but anytime you're needing the angles to be perfect on a 2-rock raise, you're as much hoping things work as expecting them to work.
And part of the hope is the fact that Lisa touched the top of her head, the curling signal for peel weight.
Gets a bonus when it jams off that yellow guard on the outside. All of the guards have disappeared. 2 reds now in the top of the 8-foot circle, and not near the protection for the 2 yellows as we once had. Here we
That worked out as well as could have been expected, having the 2 red stones that belong to Lisa McLeod's team sitting atop the 2 yellow stones. She can start to take her first breath of the end, I think.
So Beth Peterson will go to the hack to throw her first. Skip rocks to come. Peterson throwing first. McLeod having blanked the 4th end will have last rock here, and the Peterson intent here, I think, is nose hit the open red stone, push it right back. She wouldn't really be unhappy if she just grazed the top red and shuffled it a bit as well, shuffled it and the yellow, but really hitting too much of that red spells disaster. So really it is a nose hit attempt on what is effectively the 1-2-3rd shot stone. Peterson's in turn underway.
This rock is moving.
Moving a little bit. She's going to contact the red, as I suggested, just grazing it. Spins her yellow out, but does kill the red. Yellow continues to lie too.
The red rock and the yellow rock are twice as far apart as they would have to be in order for the drag effect that we described earlier to come into play. So there's no opportunity to run the red onto the yellow and have that top yellow collect the bottom yellow on the way by.
Probably like 2/3 of that one.
Yeah, 2/3.
So the call is to hit the high side, the side of the red stone between the rock and the broom, and try to roll to the left in this image, to the right in this image, roll it to the yellow stone, leaving reds lying second and third shot. Lisa McLeod's first of this fifth end. Yep. Underway. Needing it to curl up a little bit. It does make that curl at the hog line. It makes the hit. She does contact that yellow over at the side as she hoped. And from my interpretation of what we see, in fact, red lies one.
And Lisa McLeod can take her second breath of this end.
Not off the hook yet, however, as a Peterson hit and roll again in the same direction to the second shot rock will force McLeod to a single.
And she got a good education watching Lisa throw hers as to exactly where to put the broom and exactly the weight to throw.
I think I can throw it better too, I think.
Well, as we wait for this one and watch it, we can tell you that the young team skipped by Megan Walter, the Abby Ackland team, is giving Caitlin Laws all she can handle tonight, as Laws scored 2 to tie in the fourth end. She sits in the hack throwing her last rock, facing 2, hitting one wide open.
Easy, whoa.
But we jump back to the Peterson McLeod team, where Peterson is throwing the in-turn hit across the center line. She does get the contact. She does roll just a little, rub on that red stone, and sit on the tee line. Yellow lying 2. And not so much possibility of a double kill. So it is a force of 1. To jump back to my radio broadcast days, we'll give you the story on sheet A at the same time. Megan Walter sits in the hack. She throws the last stone of this end. Wide open shot at a rock sitting on the tee line, cutting the 8-foot, 12-foot circle, so half in the 8-foot, half in the 12 on the tee line. An in-turn Megan Walter hit on its way down the ice. And she does perfectly hit on the nose, little inside roll. Score of 2 reds. That is a score now of 6-4 for the Abby Ackland team, skipped by Megan Walters. 6-4 over Caitlin Laws. And Lisa McLeod's last rock of this end on its way down the ice needs to snap, curl to get to the nose, is not going to. It will hit and roll away, leaving a yellow stolen point. So Beth Peterson at the fifth end break has jumped out to a 4-2 lead. And we'll update you on a very interesting situation on sheet C, where Jennifer Jones has a whole bunch of rocks in the 8-foot circle. We'll tell you about that when we come back.
Why not? Just watch. Why not? Keep scrolling, I slide. Why not?
As a broadcaster and Hall of Fame football player, I'm constantly in the lab of life. For 15 years, my friends at Not Autocorp have been pioneers as well.
Why not?
Introducing Winnipeg Car Lab, custom car wraps, graphics, and auto services. Winnipeg, why not get in the lab?
It means coming together, helping one another, being there, showing support. That's community. Getting together with your chums you want to curl with.
It's important to volunteer, help out as much as we can.
I love curling.
I love curling.
RME, proud sponsor of Curl Manitoba and the Scotties Women's Provincials. With 10 locations in Manitoba, RME is your preferred Case IH equipment dealer. RME, right by you.
Curling in the small town part of Manitoba is really big in the winter. It's something for the community to do, and it really brings the community together. We can hold annual events like our Bonspiels and our weekly nights. It's really something to do for everyone in the community. You can do it from any age.
Eat.
Meet.
Stay.
Canad Inns Destination Centers are your home for hospitality, with 10 locations in Manitoba and 1 in North Dakota, featuring the finest in accommodations, food and beverage, entertainment, banquet and conference facilities, and so much more. For the best service and best value, your only stop is Canad Inns. Call today at 1-888-33-CANAD or visit us right now at canadinns.com.
Where can you find handmade delicious pizza, classic burgers, scrumptious salads, and the finest Manitoba-sourced pressure-cooked fried chicken? From small towns to big cities with 38 locations, Chicken Chef is comfort food you can count on. We're your made-in-Manitoba chicken choice, and pizza choice, and salad choice, and so much more. Chicken Chef, bring your appetite. We'll take care of the rest.
Asham Curling Supply.
Superior fit, comfort, and performance. Asham curling shoes are the best we've ever used.
Hi folks, I'm Arnold Asham, and our product is always satisfaction guaranteed or your money back.
Asham Curling Supplies.
That's your best delivery of the day.
When life gets busy, getting everything done can be tough. With PharmaSafe's mobile prescription service, order your prescriptions right from your phone so they're ready when you are. Download the PharmaSafe app today.
Live well with PharmaSafe.
At McMunn & Yates, we've always believed that good neighbors make for better communities. McMunn & Yates has everything you need for your next project, right at your fingertips. And McMunnandYates.com will always be there, ready to help.
We're back at the East St. Paul Curling Arena. It is, of course, the East St. Paul Community Arena, usually a hockey arena, but for this short period of time, a curling arena and a fine venue for the Manitoba Scotties Tournament of Hearts. It is our feature game of the first of 3 rounds of championship round play. And in our feature game, it is Beth Peterson from the Assiniboine Memorial Curling Club, and she is playing the Lisa McLeod team representing the Portage Curling Club. Not a dramatic turn of events, certainly, but a bit of a turn in the 5th end as Lisa McLeod faced a pair, forced to play a nose hit for one. Perhaps could have made the choice to throw a draw to the forefoot for one, but hit and rolled off, gave up a steal, a second consecutive steal, in which we saw we've now see the Peterson team jump out to a 4-2 lead. I promised you that when we came back we would tell you what had happened over on sheet C beside us, and I can tell you that it is about a 5-minute break at the fifth end break, and the fifth end break on our sheet of ice was just ending. The curlers were returning to the ice as the measurements were concluding over on sheet C, and by the time smoke clears, Jennifer Jones has put a 4 on the scoreboard. So it is an 8-3 Jones lead over Darcy Robertson. Over on the other sheet, just as the last fifth end concluded, we told you that Ackland had put a deuce on the board to lead 6-4 over Caitlin Laws. Now back here on our ice, the second of lead stones for Lisa McLeod is on its way down the ice. 2 yellow stones. One in the 4-foot, one in the top of the 8-foot angled on it. 1 red corner guard, red being the McLeod team. And Jolene Callum throws a rock deep into the rings, partially buried, but not really, pretty much wide open, as you can see in that visual. Catherine Dirksen advises Beth Peterson, I can see 7/8 of that rock. I think that's a way of saying it's a little bit under.
Yep, 7/8. Again, on this type of a curling sheet, with as much movement as it has, is really wide open. She's clearing the guard by a good 7 inches, and still gets nearly half that rock. Just going back to the 8-3 score in favor of Jennifer Jones on sheet C, already at 3 losses. If Robertson has a 4th loss, the pool of 6 teams vying for Championship Sunday's 3-team playoff will then positively be reduced to 5.
But the interesting thing is that Darcy Robertson will still have 2 games to play, and very much an opportunity to impact the 3 teams that might move on. She won't be one of them if she loses this game, but she can have a say on who is involved.
The competitive nature of these athletes means that whether or not you call it the spoiler role, every time they take to the ice, they're playing to win.
It's one of those things that they're all competitors, but they're also all friends in many ways, and they owe a responsibility to each of their friends on every team to play their best, to allow everybody else to determine the results, but they'll have their role if they can.
In some pro team sports, there's something called load management or vying for a high draft choice. In curling, you're playing to win every time.
So an attempt to run that red guard back to pick the rock out of the back of the 12-foot just misses it, but it is now wide open in the back of the rings. McLeod faces a couple of yellow stones that she's going to have to deal with, and she asks Hallie McCannell to deal with the first of them.
McLeod actually does have something going here with the 8th stone of the end coming down the ice. She'll have nice separation between her stones, unless, of course, she rolls too far.
She had hoped to roll in behind the yellow corner guard, the tight yellow guard, but rolls right back into the back corner, and a relatively routine kind of a shot to remove a pair of red stones back there.
We'd never want to rely on any expression as a crutch, but one more example of being on the wrong side of the inch.
Exactly. Yeah. So Jenna Loader, with her first shot of this end, she is going to get right to the nose of that red stone. She bangs it right back, knocks the other one out of the back of the rings. 2 yellows dead across from each other on the tee, on the front side of the tee line.
McLeod will ignore the yellow stone in the 12-foot and will use the stone, the contact stone, the target stone, just off the center line in order to try to get a medium-sized roll behind the guard which unfortunately is the other team's color too, but it's all she's got.
So with a 2-point lead, Beth Peterson looks at an interesting call here at the yellow team, the Peterson team, thinking the automatic call was to go to the side, put a second one in the rings.
They're going around. They're not hitting.
And that's a fairly succinct answer. We can go to the other side if we want, but they're going to go behind this guard, so why would we leave it here?
Even only halfway through the game, absolutely playing the scoreboard.
And interestingly, she does hit and roll away. Would have liked to roll further, but rolls pretty well. A degree of decisiveness there from Beth Peterson that I suggest we didn't see in an earlier conversation when things were a little more up in the air. But she was very decisive there. There's no question in her mind the right call was to rip that guard off. She would have liked it to roll right away.
The temperature is up, the pressure is up. Beth would not be unhappy to have Lisa's team blank the next 3 or 4 ends and end at a score of 4-3. Not unhappy at all.
Janelle Locke. This is her second stone of this end. She wants to curl across to that outside, get in the area of the rock that didn't roll right out of play. The rock on the tee line. But she's going to slide just past that yellow stone. She's going to go deep. We'll have a biter at the back of the rings. And now Beth Peterson agrees that the right call is to go to the other side to put the second rock in the rings.
Everything is falling the Peterson team's way at the moment, and they're trying to take maximum advantage of it.
Beth Peterson with a 2-point lead, a 4-2 lead after singles back-to-back. Steals in the third and the fifth. She wants to stop at least fully in the rings. Doesn't want to slide deep to let that red biter in the back of the other side still be a playable shot. But we see the yellow rock has stopped.
As third shot. Beth Peterson has a tell when she delivers a draw. If she's crouched, hunched over just at the hog line as she was on that one, that is the signal that she's worried she has added too much. She knows exactly how she releases every draw shot, and on that one she was worried that it was a little on the hot side, and she was right.
So Lisa McLeod will try to get across to the yellow rock at the tee line in the 12-foot circle. Frozen to it, it becomes protection from behind.
Easy then. Easy then. Okay, line's good. Let it curl. Whoa then, whoa. Joe, get ready.
Sweeper staying close to it, but no sweep yet. And they do bring it across to the yellow. They tap it, but it is still second shot.
Well, the double's leaving a double back. So you have to,
That red rock was very well positioned, is very well positioned. The Peterson team needs to get rid of it. If they want to roll to the center line to minimize the chance of both yellows being killed, chance of jamming on the red at the back. Nose hit leaves a possible double kill on the yellows. A little bit of a roll to the outside under the guard might be the best guarantee of not being able to kill both yellows and bring two reds into count. We'll see. It is an out-turn hit by Beth Peterson. She's going to get to the nose. She is going to bang them both out, roll towards the center. Yellow, Beth Peterson, lies 3. Lisa McLeod with her last rock will play a hit.
I think it can be said that the Peterson team is playing a very workmanlike game. They're selecting their weights properly. They're doing it in the circumstances where they know exactly how they want to approach the shot. The sweepers are making good decisions as brushers. The line calls from Jenna Loader are perfect, and at this point they're keeping the McLeod team pretty much on the back foot.
And that red rock comes into the front of the rings, into the 8-foot nose hit on the Yellowstone in the 4-foot. A red count of 1. Lisa McLeod and her Portage team score 1. It is 4-3, Peterson over McLeod, as we go to the 7th end, and we'll have that 7th end from the East St. Paul Arena in a moment.
Today's sponsor, PharmaSave. Canada's community pharmacy is proud to support Canada's community game.
At McMunn & Yates, we've always believed that good neighbors make for better communities. McMunn & Yates has everything you need for your next project, right at your fingertips. And McMunnandYates.com will always be there, ready to help.
You can win a pair of tickets for the 2023 Tim Hortons Briar in London or the 2023 BKT Tires and OK Tire Men's Worlds in Ottawa, plus $500. Or maybe equip your team with a set of 4 of Asham's new Ultra Force brushes. And at the same time, support the Manitoba Curling Hall of Fame and Museum and Curl Manitoba's Curling for Life Endowment Fund. Raffle tickets are available now. 1 for $5, 4 for $10, 10 for $20. Buy online at fundingchange.ca/Curl Manitoba, or scan the QR code on your screen right now.
Back inside the East St. Paul Arena, it is the 2023 Curl Manitoba Scotties Tournament of Hearts, presented by Rocky Mountain Equipment. Lisa McLeod, for the second end in a row, was forced to play a hit, facing multiple stones. This time she makes the nose contact, scores a single point. Beth Peterson now has a 4-3 lead with Last Rock playing in the 7th end.
And the end starts off wide open, where Beth Peterson herself is looking to score multiple points, but she's just as happy to trade hits with Lisa McLeod's front end at least. And if this should end up in a blank, Beth won't be troubled because she will have shortened the game by 25%.
So a hit on a rock in the top 12-foot leaves Peterson lying 1. McLeod goes wide with the out-turn, attempting to get a guard to come to the center line, and it doesn't quite get to the center line. You may have heard some background applause. Another 4-ender, this time on sheet A, as Caitlin Laws matches the effort of Jennifer Jones an end earlier. Caitlin Laws puts a 4 on the board in the 6th, and Laws, for the first time actually since the opening end, leads Abby Ackland now by a score of 8-6.
And looking across at sheet C with Jennifer's first rock going down the ice, she is about to add a 5th red counter into the rings. She's lying at least 4. So there's a world of hurt for the Robertson team over on sheet C, having just given up a 4.
While we haven't been watching that game, I think just looking at the scenario, there are being 5 red rocks and 1 yellow rock in the rings. No, that's not true. There is a yellow biter way at the wings. 2 yellows in the rings, 5 reds. I think it's fair to say that the Robertson team must have went for it on this end, and it hasn't turned out all that well. We'll let you know what happens on that momentarily, but as we watch the Jolene Callum stone draw. Sorry about that. The Hallie McCannell stone draw deep into the 4-foot area, just back of the tee, frozen on the Yellowstone.
And Beth Peterson immediately goes to hit the guard that's just off the center line to open things up, again knowing that she has last rock in her back pocket.
It is the Catherine Dirksen in-turn hit. She's going to get the edge of that red stone, roll away. Second stone of the end for Hallie McCannell.
The last thing the McLeod team wanted was to have that rock slide into the rings. And the next to last thing they wanted was to have it in a position where, with an upweight shot, Beth Peterson could take a shot at removing both reds. And that's exactly what they're trying now.
Catherine Dirksen with the in-turn hit. If she can just get close to the center of that red stone, she'll go bang, she'll go bang. She does leave the red rock in the 4-foot, but has removed both the red and the yellow, and a good thing from her perspective to have removed the yellow that was, again, protection from behind.
Time and again we see the use these top teams make of opposition stones that slide ever so slightly behind the tee line, and opening up with a heavyweight shot like the one that Dirksen just threw eliminates any backing.
Janelle Locke, she's playing the hit, wanted to hit nose, but rolls right out, not out of play. And we saw on the previous end, on that earlier end at least, when a rock contacted one of those and stayed as a tiny little smidge of a biter. So that rock has the potential to come into play at some point. But Jenna Loader very happy with the idea that she has an open hit on a rock in the 4-foot. Nose hit to be followed by another hit. So as we look over to sheet C, Jennifer Jones appears to be laying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Darcy Robertson has a draw to the 4-foot. She does have some backing to draw to. If she can stay on the line to that yellow or to red stone, she will score a single.
Janelle Locke made an uneventful, nearly nose hit on the Peterson stone.
Jenna Loader will throw an in-turn this time. Darcy Robertson did make her draw to the backing, scored a single point That score sits at now 8-4 for Jones over Robertson. She gets the hit, rolls away to the side. And we haven't forgotten Barry Gorlick. Has the team forgotten that this is a pretty straight spot out here that they're throwing in?
I'm intrigued that she's giving her nearly a foot of ice. What that tells us, based on past experience, is that she's not going to be throwing normal takeout weight at this. If she does, so far, shots of that type have been rolling away.
And it looks like you're right. Not a big weight hit at all. She will come to the nose, just across the nose, a little bit of a roll inside to the center.
That's the first. Like this should come up more than that one. Yeah. Little flop. Yeah.
So you see Beth Peterson deliberately trying to roll back into that same spot. Not that she expects a miss out there, but she's certainly creating the opportunity for a miss.
And two, if ultimately Beth with her last rock chooses to blank, and there is a red rock out in the 12-foot, it's an easier blank because she has less distance to roll out of the rings.
And she does roll just a little bit, sits biting that 4-foot circle. McLeod will throw her in turn hit. The teams have basically 15 minutes for Peterson, 16 minutes for McLeod left. A fairly slow game can take, what, 3.5 minutes to 4 minutes an end. So both teams have over 5 minutes an end left, so there's no time constraints on this game.
Along with timeouts that neither has used yet.
The McLeod hit, makes contact, rolls across to the other side of center. Final shot of the 7th end underway. A Beth Peterson out-turn hit. The target rock sits just behind the button. She makes good solid contact, hits and rolls away. A Beth Peterson blank. It is 4-3 Peterson over McLeod after 7. We'll be back with the 8th end from 2023 Manitoba Scotties Tournament of Hearts Championship play in a moment.
Today's sponsor, Sunrise Credit Union. Building a brighter future together.
RME, proud sponsor of Curl Manitoba and the Scotties Women's Provincials. With 10 locations in Manitoba, RME is your preferred Case IH equipment dealer. RME, right by you.
Where can you find handmade delicious pizza, classic burgers, scrumptious salads, and the finest Manitoba-sourced pressure-cooked fried chicken? From small towns to big cities, with 38 locations, Chicken Chef is comfort food you can count on. We're your made-in-Manitoba chicken choice, and pizza choice, and salad choice, and so much more. Chicken Chef, bring your appetite. We'll take care of the rest.
Back in the East St. Paul Arena, Beth Peterson has blanked the 7th end. Leads by a score of 4-3 over Lisa McLeod. McLeod throws the first stone of the end and does throw that center line guard just almost across center, but still touching the center line. Melissa Gordon throws the opening stones for Team Peterson. She's throwing the in-turn. Peterson indicates that she's okay with a corner guard, 3-4 feet short of the rings.
And one of the reasons she's really okay with it is she's trying to set up to get a pair here. With only 3 ends to go, Beth Peterson has 2 hammers to Lisa McLeod's 1. So if Beth can get a pair here and force Lisa McLeod in 9, she'll be not only in control of the game, but statistically likely to be the victor.
So we'll see how that plays out. Jolene Callum with her second shot of the end.
Okay, straight. It was moving and then it wasn't. Yeah, straight.
She'll slide
Okay, that's good.
very tight, but just past that previously placed guard. Slides wide open almost on the outside.
In fact, it slid so wide open that the Peterson team is going to make a play on it and wait for the next shot or the shot after that to make any use at all of their corner guard.
It is a Melissa Gordon. Bump weight hit. She makes the contact, rolls wide open. If you've been enjoying our Curl Manitoba live stream broadcasts of championship curling, we can tell you what the schedule is for tomorrow, so you can do a little bit of planning. A 10 a.m. draw. It is scheduled for 10 a.m. Our center ice feature will be the Abby Ackland team against Darcy Robertson. And then at 4 p.m., the heavyweight fight of the event, Caitlin Laws against Jennifer Jones, a championship meeting at the Manitoba Scotties that, frankly, Manitoba curlers have been looking forward to with anticipation since these two teams were formed, and they knew there was a possibility of the two teams playing each other on the Bonspiel circuit. But this is the venue that they were really looking forward to seeing Caitlin playing her former mentor, her true friend, Jennifer Jones, with anticipation, of course, that it could be a preview game to the game on Sunday afternoon. So that's at 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. And then if a tiebreaker game is required, it is scheduled to go here at Center Ice at the St. Paul Arena at 8 p.m. tomorrow evening. So 10, 4, possibly 8 p.m. Saturday for Championship Curl Manitoba Scotties competition.
And the local organizing committee and the nearly 200 volunteers and all of the residents of East St. Paul and the 500 plus people in the stands tonight have been waiting for that championship knockdown drag 'em out battle literally since 2021, when this Scotties was supposed to happen right here and something called COVID-19 intervened. So it's a patient lot, curling fans, but they're going to be in for a treat tomorrow. The number 1 and 2 seeded teams, and teams presently at least undefeated in this Scotties Bonspiel.
And Jones looking like she probably will continue undefeated. Not to say things don't happen, but Jones does lead Darcy Robertson by a score of 8-4 playing in the 7th end. The Ackland Laws game much tighter. Ackland scored, however, a single point, forced to a single on 7. And so Laws now with the 8-7 lead and Hammer playing end number 8. So she, too, is in very good position.
Speaking of good position, Beth Peterson is in good, solid position. again with hammer. At no risk at the moment of being forced and in control of the end, at least so far. With Janelle Locke about to throw her final shot. Pardon me, her first shot.
And that first shot is an out-turn. She'll try to contact the yellow rock that Catherine Dirksen just rolled over into open position. Locke makes the contact, rolls across, hope to get behind the corner guard, but rolls wide open on the outside. And Beth Peterson decides that this is the time to try to get into the top of the 12-foot circle behind that yellow corner guard, because she would have the red as a catcher if the attempt was made to push it back, assuming Jenna Loader can make the good shot behind that yellow guard in the top of the 12-foot. A little deeper than she wanted to be. She's right to the tee line. And McLeod will try to draw to it to be shot stone biting the 8, cornered on that yellow rock.
Beth Peterson immediately taking responsibility for the fact that she had given too much ice on the call.
Question being then, did Lisa McLeod learn from that? And I think that's a fair assessment. There is nothing to be done with that stone except watch it as it slides right through the rings.
That's really an uncharacteristic miss this late in the game in a path that has been well used. Bit of adrenaline, too much leg drive, and it never had a chance.
Big opportunity now for the Beth Peterson team. They went behind that corner with Loader's first stone, hoping to possibly create a score of 2. Sensing now the possibility of setting a 3. They do throw it really where they wanted the first one, but it's created a little bit of a pocket. Back to our radio broadcast of the curling game on Sheet C. Final skip stones to come. Darcy Robertson throws yellow. She does not have last rock. She faces 3 red Jennifer Jones stones, 2 of them side by side behind the tee line in the 8-foot on the left-hand side of center. 1 of them biting out into the 12-foot circle on the right-hand side of center, but 3 red Jones stones. Robertson needs to draw to the face of the 2 that are paired together. I'll tell you how that works out in a moment. As we watch Lisa McLeod's draw attempt, she wants to get over to those 2 yellow stones on the tee line. She's over curling. She is going to rub and roll. And as soon as our scoreboard is out of the way, we can tell you that that red stone is shot rock, nicely drawn into that pair of yellows. Beth Peterson will clear the guard, try to run it straight back onto the red. She throws this, gets the red, or the yellow, perfectly straight back, she probably ends up lying 3.
Once again, Beth's money shot, an up-weight takeout with her out turn. Confident that she can make contact at virtually the spot that the brush is being held on the target rock.
So we'll watch that out turn hit, and then we'll tell you what's happening on sheet C before we go to our commercial break. That yellow rock on its way down the ice. Contact, bang, bang. But no, instead of getting onto the red, she gets onto the yellows. Red does lie 1. So we have 1 shot to come for the reds, 1 shot to come for the yellows. And I can tell you that Jennifer Jones is in the hack. Darcy Robertson did come just short, actually, just to the top of the 12-foot circle. So this is a Jennifer Jones draw for a 4 here on the 7th end.
And for those who are making sports wagers, you can wager whatever money you have left that this will be handshakes.
And the Jones rock does slide into the 4-foot, across the button, stops deep in the 4-foot circle, and yes, in fact, a score of 4 for a 12-4 victory. Jennifer Jones stays undefeated at 5-0. Darcy Robertson drops to 2-4. Back here on our sheet, the Lisa McLeod draw sails into the front of the rings, sails out the back of the rings, and we have what is called the unforced error. Beth Peterson has the opportunity to hit for a pair.
The camera didn't capture a very touching scene on sheet C where Jennifer Clark-Rear, the formerly 5th player on the Jones team through all of their successful years, was embraced by Jennifer, knowing that this might be the last time they see each other in a competitive arena such as this, with Jennifer Clark-Rear really having sort of stepped away from the competitive game, but having lent a hand to her longtime friend Darcy Robertson this year.
As I said earlier, these people they're competitors. They're fiercely competitive, but for the most part, they are all friends. They're all members of the same club.
And for the listeners and viewers who are really paying attention, nobody heard a further error by the broadcast team. It was just a muffled sound, I think. The fact that Jennifer Jones is at 6 wins and no losses but my broadcast partner actually said that for some reason there was a technological glitch and it sounded a wee bit like 5.
Well, I did say undefeated, and that's really the point that matters. And the hit for now a deuce, and Beth Peterson leads by a score of 6-3 after 8 completed ends. Works out well for the Peterson team as they score their 2 at the home end. We'll be back with end number 9 in just a moment.
Thank you for joining us for this Manitoba Championship draw, brought to you by Seagram's VO, masterfully blended, distinctly Canadian. You can win a pair of tickets for the 2023 Tim Hortons Brier in London or the 2023 BKT Tires and OK Tire Men's Worlds in Ottawa, plus $500. Or maybe equip your team with a set of 4 of Asham's new Ultra Force brushes. And at the same time, support the Manitoba Curling Hall of Fame and Museum and Curl Manitoba's Curling for Life Endowment Fund. Raffle tickets are available now. 1 for $5, 4 for $10, 10 for $20. Buy online at fundingchange.ca/Curl Manitoba or scan the QR code on your screen right now.
Curling in the small town part of Manitoba is really big in the winter. It's something for the community to do, and it really brings the community together. We can hold annual events like our Bonspiels and our weekly nights. It's really something to do for everyone in the community. You can do it from any age.
Back on center ice at the East St. Paul Arena, the 2023 Scotties Tournament of Hearts, presented by Rocky Mountain Equipment. A break in the game as Beth Peterson has scored a deuce with hammer at the home end. The 2 on the 8th gives Peterson the 6-3 lead over Lisa McLeod. Lisa McLeod is now going to have to go for it a bit to try to make something happen here on 9.
Go for it a bit is an understatement. She really has to try some way, somehow to crack a 3, a 2 at absolute minimum. So you're going to see double corner guards set up. You're going to see her ignore everything in the middle. You're also going to see Beth Peterson load up the middle with yellow granite, and the back half of the end will involve some upweight shots and some hits and rolls that hopefully, from McLeod's perspective, will leave at least 2 red rocks counting by the time the smoke clears.
Second stone into the rings for Peterson. Trying to get it to snap over to the center line. The sweep does get it very close. McLeod ignores. As Barry Gorlick has said, McLeod needs a bunch of guards, beginning now with this second one. Try to get 2 guards on the same side of the sheet.
She wants as much separation between them as possible so that when the time does come for Beth Peterson to be able to start clearing guards, a double will be more difficult.
Peterson looking for a tight guard. Sliding into the top of the rings isn't the worst thing. It's not going to do that, however. It's just going to come up a couple of feet short, nicely guarding the 2 yellow stones in the center of the rings.
Lisa McLeod just proposed an interesting call to try to bounce the top yellow guard away and at the same time take her red rock to come toward the one that's very close to the rings and try to get it to direct this way and have the shot rock come in something like that. A very interesting call, and they're discussing it because it's not a conventional shot, but if it's successful, it will most certainly work.
You heard part of her logic was that if we go to the side, she's going to throw a high center guard, and then we got all kinds of problems.
Top one and rolling is what they were talking about to end up approximately here. But the problem is, at the top of the screen that you can't see, if they put a long guard in, they're going to have a tough time getting to the 2 rocks, the 2 yellow rocks that still likely would remain shots 1 and 2.
If you leave it there, it's totally fine. If you leave a rock there. Just try to cross it if we can. Okay? Solid bump.
I still like Lisa's call because, frankly, it's go time. And you have to try something that is a lower percentage shot with a higher upside. But the team wasn't comfortable with it, and most importantly, the person throwing the rock wasn't comfortable with it. So they're taking the more conventional route of trying to come off the yellow rock at the top of the rings, just outside the top of the 12-foot.
So that person throwing the rock is Hallie McCannell. She throws the out turn. She needs to cross center by just a little bit to get the rub and roll that was talked about. She makes the contact, but is going to roll completely out of play, allowing Beth Peterson now to clear first the closest guard.
Unfortunately, that was a miss. Whether it's due to a lack of commitment to the shot on the part of the team, whether it's due to the fact that she had to scoot back to the hack and deliver the shot, that's a miss, and it at the moment looks to ruin the end for Lisa McLeod.
So the Catherine Dirksen in-turn hit comes down, crosses the hog line, will contact that red rock just off the rings and roll over. We'll go back to our radio show in progress on sheet A, down to the final stone of the end. Caitlin Laws with last rock. And as we look to the far end of the arena, not exactly sure how many rocks are counting. At least 2 red stones, red being the Abby Ackland team. Possibly a third, not sure about it from here. Caitlin Laws will play a hit down the center. She can contact, there is not really any guards on the line she's playing. She can contact both reds and bounce them. We won't know till the rocks quit rolling just what's going to happen there, but we'll update you momentarily. Laws does have last rock. This is it. She leads 8-7. McLeod deep into the rings, or deeper into the rings probably than wanted, and nose hit. Caitlin Law's shot is underway. The out-turn hit up the center line. Passes the rock in the top 8 foot. She goes bang, bang on 2 reds, rolls back up. The applause you can hear probably tells you that Laws made the shot for at least 1, possibly 2. We'll let you know when that mark goes on the scoreboard.
Ho-hum, another perfect shot by Caitlin Laws when she really needed it most.
The Ackland team appears to be full value for the game tonight. They are pushing the much more established Laws team right to the edge every end. And as the scorekeeper stands up, not quite yet, play-by-play on that, moves aside. It is a single for Caitlin Laws, so to a fair extent, mission accomplished for Abby Ackland to force to a single to get last rock going to the 9th end, trailing 9-7 to Caitlin Laws. Back to our game. Janelle Locke with her in-turn draw away from center down to the rock, biting the 8 foot, and she makes just a wonderful shot. Seals it in behind the guard, but pokes out a little bit on the outside. Beth Peterson believes that she can peel it out. There you see the shot that tells you, yes, she can peel that red rock out.
This comes back to the trust that players by now, this deep in the game, have in the way the ice runs and the liveliness of these competition rock sets owned by Curl Manitoba, where with peel weight, all you have to do is make contact and have a gap of about the inch that is between these 2 rocks, and the red rock will spring right out of the rings.
The General Loader hit, out-turn just past the guard. Bangs them both out of the rings, and once again, Beth Peterson lies 3, 2 of them in the center of the rings.
I don't know whether granite can compress, but these rocks come off the striking bands in such a lively way, you almost think that they're a little bit spongy.
You do. For the first time in my broadcast career, I am at a loss for words. I have no idea how to respond to a discussion of spongy granite. So I'm going to ignore it and tell you that Janelle Locke's in-turn draw is underway. Well, she does want to leave it higher. She does have to be pretty much fully into the 12-foot circle. in order to be of any value, it takes at least that yellow biter at the top corner out of play.
But here again, it overcurled. And it's showing an edge. The question, by the way, down to the end of the ice to the front end player squatting in the hack, do you have any? Already has an answer. The answer is going to be yep.
However, wise enough not to play the out-turn side. You can't see quite as much of it, and if they happen to graze the red guard, the danger exists of pushing it into the center of the rings, and just no logical reason to do that. So the point here is to hit center line side of this rock and get rid of red for sure. Maybe it runs straight through and takes the red out of the rings.
Once again, having more than a little bit to do with the three-point advantage that Beth Peterson currently enjoys on the scoreboard, with so few ends left to play.
So that big weight in-turn hit is underway. She will hit and simply roll completely out of play. So that red guard that was hidden now lies third shot rock. Interesting little conversation there. I don't see the double. The reason not to see that is that if she makes the double, she's going to actually roll back across the center line, isn't she? And that's going to set up a double on the red. So they want to be careful, in fact, not to do that.
She's going to have to make a double at some point, but she's chosen to take the chance that with her last stone as opposed to her first stone, Lisa will have an easier shot at a double when Beth Peterson is already out of rocks.
Just a hair high side.
So the in-turn hit is underway. She wants to no more than get to the nose of this Yellowstone, which is pretty much exactly what she's going to do, but does roll. Peterson will play the red one at the wings.
I mean, you can do it, and if you do this, she has to...
I think you're sitting too, if you know that.
10-5?
Yeah, you got it.
Just a 10. I know we've seen it with 10 a bunch.
Sure.
I think they have to roll a touch. She's pretty confident we can nose it. Yeah, I have to roll with the other one, so it's one or the other, really. 10. We've seen this with 10 a bunch.
So Peterson, looking at the nose hit on that red stone, can roll an inch or two to the center line. Doesn't want to roll more than that.
Does want to lie second, though.
Much necessary. Mucho necessary.
She at first looked at the idea of hitting the rock at the edge of the 12-foot, but would have to make an even trickier roll, so has selected the nose hit and has thrown this one a little full.
So she is going to make contact, but she is going to roll. In fact, will roll right out of play and give Lisa McLeod the opportunity to hit for a deuce to bring it back within one coming home.
Beth would like that throw back, but still 2 points here still leaves her with a 1-point lead heading into the final end of play with hammer. Upwards of a 95% chance based on games played over the past couple of years at this pro level. A 95+% chance of coming out the winner.
So it's the final shot here in the ninth end. It is an in-turn hit from Lisa McLeod. Needs to come to the nose of the red yellow stone. Does just that. get an inch or two of roll, pretty much none, and a dead hit for a deuce. And Lisa McLeod comes back to within one. It is 6-5. Peterson over McLeod. Peterson with last rock coming home. We'll be back with that last end momentarily.
We hope you're enjoying this Manitoba Championship Curling, brought to you by Seagram's 83, Manitoba's favorite Canadian whiskey.
Where can you find handmade delicious pizza, classic burgers, scrumptious salads, and the finest Manitoba-sourced pressure-cooked fried chicken? From small towns to big cities with 38 locations, Chicken Chef is comfort food you can count on. We're your made-in-Manitoba chicken choice, and pizza choice, and salad choice, and so much more. Chicken Chef, bring your appetite. We'll take care of the rest.
When life gets busy, getting everything done can be tough. With PharmaSafe's mobile prescription service, order your prescriptions right from your phone so they're ready when you are. Download the PharmaSafe app today.
Live well with PharmaSafe.
RME, proud sponsor of Curl Manitoba and the Scotties Women's Provincials. With 10 locations in Manitoba, RME is your preferred Case IH equipment dealer. RME, right by you.
The home end number 10 of our championship match between Beth Peterson and Lisa McLeod. McLeod has scored a deuce on the 9th to pull within one. Beth Peterson of the Assiniboine Memorial leads 6-5 coming home. Peterson does have last rock. First shot, a centerline guard tight to the rings. Peterson, her first call immediately to go behind it. And it peeks out the other side, but does bite the 12-foot.
Sorry, I didn't get that.
Pretty familiar start on the even ends, making full use of the outturn side of the very readable by now amount of large curl available to a rock with the right weight.
Strong sweep there. Really an exhortation to get it to the center line. They didn't want to leave it off center so that the tick shot could be played. So two center line guards now, neither one of which can yet be moved.
Giving every opportunity, placed as they are, for Lisa McLeod to set up a steal.
She does get around that guard right into her own rock in the top of the 12-foot circle. Now the challenge is for Lisa McLeod, having thrown those first two center line guards. Peterson having thrown two into the top of the rings, into the 4-foot behind. What does McLeod do? And she says that her best option is probably to go past the red guard and get to the corner of the yellow.
Showing just enough of the throw-in redstone to be available to hit when the time comes, with sufficient weight to clear those two yellow rocks at least back behind the 4-foot, but to leave them within the rings as backing for her own redstone.
She's going to be close, as she said. She's now going to curl over to just touch that yellow, but does sit on the other side of center wide open. And Beth Peterson, and now with the opportunity, will play to clear the center.
Taking no chances, she wants to open the front up, even though the way that little bit of a bounce move the red shot rock, she could probably get to it, but Beth knows the odds, and guards are not her friend.
And one of them is now gone.
Put it back. High.
McLeod wants it back. Hallie McCannell. Her second stone of the end.
Okay, little deeper. I think it's coming down. Leave it. Just leave it. Don't want to touch much separation.
A little deeper than she wanted.
That's a bit of trouble because
Just like 7/8 high.
Whatever you're seeing.
at this level of play, doubling out the two guards is pretty straightforward. But again, minimizing risk. The decision is taken just to hit or rip the top one so as to avoid any risk of having the second one upon contact carrying into the pile of rocks at the top of the 8-foot.
Out-turn hit just up the center line, needs to just tick the rock. It does not.
Okay, sorry.
Bonus shot there, however, to rip the guard off and take the red rock out of the rings and rolls wide open. Two yellows sit there, very much controlling the end.
Not the shot that was called, but the outcome couldn't have been better for Beth Peterson's team. That's interesting. You just heard the explanation for the miss that worked out okay. The ice is awfully sensitive to having an out-turn set. In other words, put back in the direction of the proper line just enough that the break point ends up being much further down the ice and there's no chance for it to recover with up weight.
Janelle Locke.
And this, ladies and gentlemen, is one of those times. This shot has to be made.
She's coming to the yellows. Will tap, bump. Yellow continues to lie two. Peterson will try to peel the guard, slash it across the face of the red rock over in the side of the 8-foot circle and kill them both, but that's secondary. The main thing is to get rid of the rock in the center. She throws the same shot as last time and slides past. She'll pick the red one out of the top of the 8-foot. Not so much this time, though. She does come to the angle the way she wants, pushes across the red. Now all of the play is in the rings except for that one yellow guard way to the side. It won't really be a factor in the end. And at this point, the McLeod team, with 3 rocks to come, 2 timeouts available to them, decide this is a good time to bring Lyle Hudson off the bench to provide some insight. Who knows, perhaps it was Lyle Hudson who hinted to the team that it was a good time to bring him off the bench.
Lisa's initial indication was that she might want to play a guard.
It's going to be hard to draw in there. It's makeable.
And
we will, yeah.
Lyle may be suggesting that it's time to take a chance of coming right in because there may not be another opportunity.
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah, we just have to navigate this hole, but I think we have to try it on my first.
Not necessarily, but we can.
We always have that tap too.
We have 2 timeouts, but so I would play the. Just make sure you play the guard with this turn.
Yeah.
Try and learn this pass.
Okay.
So that when we make that shot, like we get 1 shot to make it good.
Yeah.
So we know what we're doing. So if you want to do it on your first, that's fine.
Okay. Thanks.
But a nice guard right now.
For dry lucky. I apologize for those rock-like images that came onto the telestrator. I'm intrigued by the fact that the rocks on this telestrator have a perimeter line, but nothing in the middle. I hope that's no reflection on the quality of commentary, Rasby.
Well, we're going to see the quality of the shot. It is Janelle Locke throwing her second stone of the end. And as Barry so adeptly illustrated on his third attempt.
Third try lucky.
The draw through on the left-hand side of the center line to the yellow stone in the back of the forefoot is the call. Sweep to get it to curl across. Well, either that or they did decide to play the guard, and we were taken by surprise.
We weren't taken by surprise. We were distracted by the images coming up on the telestrator screen. So that was the call that Lisa initially wanted to make, setting up protection for ultimately her one chance, and it will only be one chance, to outcount those two yellow rocks in and above the forefoot.
And as this conversation takes place, several
I don't love
yellow
stagger
stones
situations.
score over on sheet A. Laws we'll be able to tell you in a moment when we see the scoreboard finally marked. But Caitlin Laws and her team have defeated
What do you guys like?
Abby Ackland. The young team skipped by Megan Walter.
I don't mind the straight rip either.
So
I don't
Laws
think this
joins
is worth it, 'cause I'm
Jones
scared you're doing this.
with perfect 6
I think
and
you're
0
here.
records.
Yeah.
Ackland
I
falls
like
to
this.
3
This is
losses.
bad. Giving this. It's just flat.
I know.
Yeah, I think you could bump it.
If
then they would overlap that.
I don't love staggers. That's the only thing I'm worried about. Nose. I know. I didn't. They're playing at this, right?
Yeah.
Are we ripping? Ripping.
What do you want to throw on your last? So you want?
I'm fine either way. I want to have a shot.
To open up this side too, though, like to give you a draw too. Can I play it high?
What?
Like peel?
I'm just worried, Jenny, you're coming this way.
So the conversation really all revolves around how is Lisa McLeod going to score a single point to tie this game.
Yeah, I mean, I like coming with
And the problem rock at the moment is the one just delivered. They're talking about ripping, getting rid of this rock. Either side to clear it out entirely. They're worried about the idea of this rock somehow jamming there.
So it's Jenna Loader. And she is going to play the in-turn hit on that red rock out in the corner of the 8-foot circle.
And it's really moving.
She's going to hit and jump across to remove a Yellowstone. She continues to lie second shot.
We've been speaking to you throughout these broadcasts about the lingo that competitive curlers use. You heard the reference to the fact that that rock was nice. That means completely unnice in code. It's opened up the opportunity now for Lisa McLeod to come right around and sink one somewhere in behind her top red guard, and using the Yellowstone on the center line, just biting the 8-foot as a second guard, and using the Yellowstone at the back as a catcher. Final time you'll hear it tonight, folks. A few big shots in a game. This is the biggest one of Lisa McLeod's evening so far.
She does go wide. It is the in-turn. Wants to sneak past the red in front of the rings on the center line, the yellow in the rings on the center line, but she's going to overcurl. She's going to tap the guard.
There's another example of that glide path near the center line, running perpendicular from edge of forefoot to edge of forefoot, the whole length of the ice, having worn down to the point where it's lost some speed, it's lost some height of pebble, and the stones are moving much more than they were earlier.
Well, I can report to you that the final score over on the Laws Ackland sheet was, in fact, 12-7. Laws stole 3 on the 9th end. And I think there's a remarkable coincidence, Barry Gorlick, in the fact that Jennifer Jones on sheet C, Caitlin Laws on sheet A, both put 12 points on the board tonight. Robertson scored a couple fewer than Ackland did, but 12 points in any competition is a lot, and they've shown each other that if you're going to score that many, I'm going to score that many, and when we play each other, it should be a dandy.
It will be a dandy.
So Beth Peterson goes into that wide out in-turn track, trying to throw the yellow rock in such a place that it makes it a wider draw for Lisa McLeod to get around it. And Lisa, I think, is acknowledging that it is now too wide to get around and get to the button, to the forefoot at least.
Is backline enough?
So she's looking at a double tap.
Backline's enough, like good backline.
Just through, yeah, through
That
weight. Yeah, I don't
slightly
want to throw hack
outside.
and then, like, miss it.
I like backline. Good backline.
Trying to nestle in.
Probably
really
this one.
want to
Yeah,
play
it looks
this
more
one.
natural.
Approximately
it's just, it's
there.
Be coming in.
That's the
Back
ideal
line,
shot.
So this is
It occurs to me too,
bumper.
Resby, that our
This is bumper for high
hollow
side.
rock images perhaps are filled with hot air.
There. That's about hack for high side. So I think maybe there. That's a little less. Let me have a look at that. Okay. Back line.
Well, here we go. We've
Am I gonna
got
end up
a
throwing
fair bit of conversation
Pardon me?
required yet before
Are you?
Janelle Locke and Lisa McLeod are going to be able to settle on the combination of ice and weight required to make this double tap
Hit 2/3.
Yeah.
back
2/3
into the
or like a thick half.
area
Okay, I'm gonna throw, like,
illustrated by Barry.
And I offer just a third possibility. Are those hollow rocks just vacuous?
Just through weight. Like good back line.
Head ice maker Greg Owasco has come over to us to offer his opinion on our hollow rocks.
Yeah, good, like through back line, but not
He
full
declines to participate
range here.
in a rather hollow conversation.
And this is interesting. We're taking a look at the idea of a straight run back, tap back rather.
Can you stand up just because your broom is at an angle? Yeah, thank you. That looked like more ice, eh? That you gave me. You like
You
that
want
ice?
more?
No.
No,
that
she's
looks
playing
good.
the double
Just a hair
tap
less.
with that ice.
Good. That's where it was.
I would say yes. We'll see in a moment. It will be Lisa McLeod. Last rock. In turn.
Just back line weight, maybe hack weight.
She is
She's
wanting
getting
to
lots of movement.
cross center, but can't afford to get to the nose of the red stone. She goes just curled a little too much and didn't get the second rock to move backwards on the line that she really wanted it to. So we see the game end at a score of 6-5 without the last rock of Beth Peterson being thrown. 6-5 is the final score as Beth Peterson improves now to a record of 5-1. Jennifer Jones, Caitlin Laws at 6-0, Beth Peterson at 5-1, Lisa McLeod, Abby Ackland at 3-3, Darcy Robertson at 2-4. We'll have Ackland Robertson at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. Laws Jones at 4 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. And I would suggest at this stage probably not a tiebreaker tomorrow evening, but who knows. Barry Gorlick, thank you very much for being with us. We will be back tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. in the East St. Paul Arena with the 2023 Scotties Tournament of Hearts presented by Rocky Mountain Equipment. Thanks for being with us.
Today's sponsor, Sunrise Credit Union. Building a brighter future together.
Eat.
Meet.
Stay.
Canad Inns destination centers are your home for hospitality, with 10 locations in Manitoba and 1 in North Dakota, featuring the finest in accommodations, food and beverage, entertainment, banquet and conference facilities, and so much more. For the best service and best value, your only stop is Canad Inns. Call today at 1-888-33-CANAD or visit us right now at canadinns.com.
You can win a pair of tickets for the 2023 Tim Hortons Brier in London or the 2023 BKT Tires and OK Tire Men's Worlds in Ottawa, plus $500. Or maybe equip your team with a set of 4 of Asham's new Ultra Force brushes. And at the same time, support the Manitoba Curling Hall of Fame and Museum and Curl Manitoba's Curling for Life Endowment Fund. Raffle tickets are available now. 1 for $5, 4 for $10, 10 for $20. Buy online at fundingchange.ca/Curl Manitoba or scan the QR code on your screen right now.